Hey folks, and welcome to TK Power Sports. Today's exciting because we have this, the Sea-Doo FishPro Apex 300. This thing is all about getting out on the water by yourself and finding some fish. And that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. We're gonna go fishing, try to land a big one, and then I'm gonna go for a ride, tell you all about how it handles, and we'll do a top speed run. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's start off with all the important numbers. So the unit you see in this video is the FishPro Apex 300. And yes, the 300 means 300 horsepower from a supercharged 1,630cc engine. Now let's talk about the size of this thing. Overall length here is listed at 146.8 inches. Width comes in at 49.7 inches, while height without the pedestal seat installed is 59.4 inches. Fuel capacity on this unit is 18.5 US gallons, while the weight capacity here is 600 pounds. Finally, dry weight on this unit comes in at 978 pounds. All right, folks, now it's time to actually go fishing. So I want to set up this pedestal seat on the back. I'll show you exactly how that works. So we reach back, that guy pops off. The actual bar for the pedestal stores right here on the side of the live well. That tucks in like that. Seat drops in on top. And then there is a backrest for it, which lives up here in the storage. And that pops in there like that. Now once this pedestal seat is installed, you are speed limited, but you can still get around, you can move around from spot to spot. You can get up to about 18 miles per hour, so you will just about get up on plane, but yeah, you're not going top speed with the pedestal back there. And yeah, now that I'm set up, let's go find some fish. So first of all, I will say, the seat is pretty comfortable. Nice to have the backrest. I think that's really the key here is on a PWC, you're not getting that tall backrest, but now you have it. The other feature which stands out is the fact that they put these footrests up here on the gunnels. So they're actually angled a little bit to your feet, so you can really kind of plant your feet in there, and that's going to help to hold your body still. It is actually a bit of a windy day out here, so yeah, the wind is moving me around, but I actually feel really solid on here. And you know what? For me, that's always saying something. For a guy over 300 pounds to be able to sit on a PWC and not worry about the stability of it, yeah, that's a good sign. So that's one of the things with this boat is that it feels like a small boat, the size of these things these days, and that gives it that slow speed stability. And for fishing, it's exactly what you want. You don't want to be sitting here worried about, yeah, flipping over all the time, rolling through the waves, anything like that. So I like the comfort, and yeah, the stability on this thing is solid. Now all we need is some fish. Well, folks, I have been trying my best to catch a fish, but no luck so far. And now we're going to relocate to a new spot. And again, that's what this machine is really all about. It's if you're very serious about fishing, this is what you want to get. And then the fact that we're on the Apex 300 today, it just means that all of the features are here. There is nothing that is missing. You're getting the bumper, the windshield here, and all of that power, 300 horsepower. Needless to say, feels crazy out here on the water. I mean, just watch. The thing absolutely takes off, and of course that's only at mid speeds. I'm already running at 35 miles per hour. Put your finger into it and the thing just goes. So the 300 horsepower is appreciated, but I don't think it's the most important part of this unit. It's all of the features, the things that make it convenient for fishing. And yeah, convenient is definitely the word. This is, you know, a segment that was created by anglers. They were already using PWCs for fishing. So Sea-Doo was able to really look at what men and women were doing out there and say, how do we make their lives easier? And the answer is rod holders, at-hand storage, an anchor, things like that, which just make their life that much simpler. So power, ridiculous. Let me talk through the handling on this machine, because it definitely is interesting. I do find myself needing to do a lot with these handlebars. I feel like the bow is never totally settled. It likes to kind of find its own lines. So that's a bit of a downside. I feel like it's a bit of a busy ride here on this machine. I don't know if that's just hull design or if it has something to do with some of the features on here, but I'm definitely feeling that. A busy ride is the way I would put it. And I think Sea-Doo knew that, because one of the things they've introduced here is a steering damper. Now this came first to Sea-Doo's high performance models, and now they've brought it over here. And the damper, again, it really just damps the steering. It makes the bars heavier in your hands, but then you have less of those little corrections you have to make, because it just keeps it going straight. So I've been turning the damper basically to full, and I do appreciate that. It takes some of the busyness out of the handlebars. The other thing the damper is important for is running long distances. If you're out here doing an hour on the water, you're fishing at one spot and then ripping across the lake to another, it's just gonna keep your arms from having to do any unnecessary work, and that just means you should stay fresher for longer. So I like the idea of the steering damper, and then maybe most importantly, if you don't like it, turn it all the way off and you don't feel it whatsoever. So you do have a choice with that. Now the other thing we get here is the handlebar riser. So I have the bars right now all the way out at me, and then I can still adjust them up like this too. And once they're all the way up, it's super simple to stand up. They're really, really high. I mean, my arm is still bent reaching them, so I appreciate that functionality too, because you think of standing up as something fun to do, but actually for fishing, it's about visibility too. I feel like when I'm up, I'm more dynamic. I can really look around, find my spots. So I love that the handlebars come up so tall into such a comfortable position, and I stand at 6'2", so that is an important aspect here. Now, outside of all that, I think the last thing I have to say here is, like a lot of these modern PWCs, Sea-Doo included, it feels like a big comfy couch out here on the water. The seat, super comfortable, nice and wide underneath me. You know, this machine is not trying to be sporty. It doesn't really feel like that outside of straight line acceleration. But what it lacks in some of that sportiness, it just makes up for an overall comfort. And then the windshield too, if you're wondering if that's a gimmick, well, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's wet. When you huck this thing into a corner, you can easily be getting that spray up onto the windshield. So it's actually making a legitimate difference. And once again, with an eye towards longevity, you're out all day riding, running hard, finding those fish. You want to be as comfortable and you want the ride to be as easy as possible. And that is definitely what I feel like Sea-Doo prioritized right here. Another feature I should mention is the cruise control here. So I have it set right now, 35 miles per hour. On this machine, you set your speed and then you squeeze the throttle all the way to the bar, and it will keep you at that set speed. And that's just about the closed position on the throttle is more comfortable for your hand. And I'm gonna repeat it once again for ease of use and longevity. Nice to have the cruise control here as well. Now guys, this video doesn't feel like it's complete until I get a fish in that live well. So yeah, I gotta keep on trying to reel something in on the FishPro. Well, no fish at the first spot, so we're gonna head over to a different lake actually and try that out. On our way over, I can offer some more impressions on this thing. And I think what sort of comes to me right away, the first overall feeling I have is just that everything is at hand. Maybe that seems obvious, but yes, when you're out here, especially by yourself, you need to be able to reach all of your tools, all of your gear, your drinks, anything you brought for storage. In fact, Sea-Doo probably still has the best storage in the industry with this guy right here. Open it up, you can access everything you have down in there, and that is a massive nose storage. And unlike the old design where you had to kind of stand up and reach down into the nose, none of that. Here you stay seated, pop that open, and you can get to it no problem. And then even out back, getting to the live well is no issue. Just scoot back onto the seat and you can pretty easily reach that too. So I just like that everything feels like it's right here, right where I need it. Oh, my rod's scraping a little bit. Okay. Just a little bit. I think we'll be good here. This one seems taller. Beautiful. And yes, there's multiple rod holders here too. So, you know, if you want to bait up a couple different types of bait on different rods, you can do that and then store them all the way around your PWC and you're ready to go. Now, the other thing I really like is that bar up front. Essentially, it's a bumper. And for an adventure model, a fishing model, something where you might be in close proximity with docks, with rocks, with shorelines, why not have that down there just to offer a little bit of extra protection? So it's another feature here which I think is going to be really useful on this fishing model. And the best thing I could do today is actually catch a fish. So we're going to keep trying to pull something out of this lake and stick it in the live well back there. Stay tuned. There's another neat feature I want to tell you about. And you know, when you come fishing, sometimes you got to get into the weeds, and weeds and PWCs generally don't mix very well. But Sea-Doo thought of that, and they brought out the IDF system. That's the Intelligent Debris Free system. So once you come through a weed bed like that, if you feel any vibration, cavitation, loss of power, anything like that, this thing is going to essentially clean out your intake crate. So you shut your unit off, you hold the IDF button, it's now engaging, turn the unit back on. Essentially what it has done now is reverse the direction of the drive shaft in there. So rather than sucking water into your intake crate, it's blowing out of your intake crate. It does it automatically for me, and then it shuts off when it's done. It'll go back into normal mode, start the machine back up, and there you go. Your intake crate should now be totally clean of debris and weeds. And for anyone who's ever had to jump in the water and get down there with their hand, this is an awesome system so that you don't have to deal with that anymore. This is also a great chance to talk about the slow speed mode. So I do have cruise control when you're moving at high speeds, but if you just want to do this in a no wake zone, you can set your slow speed control, and there's actually 9 different settings. Now the top setting is only going to take you up to 5 or 6 miles per hour, so still incredibly slow. And then the fact that there's 9 different notches in that range just means you have really precise control over your speed. So again, no wake zones, it's important, but also just for trolling. You might want to just sit here, cast, and just be holding your rod while you're trolling along, and you can do that too, and you don't have to touch the throttle. That's the key, so you can keep your hands free to work on catching that fish while you just slowly cruise along here. So another smart feature which I think, you know, anglers will probably appreciate. Now it's time to bring this guy into the dock so we can talk about slow speed control. And I like to just mention the general controls here. So with the Sea-Doo, if when you start it, it's in neutral. If you pop that left lever, you're in neutral. Pop the right, you're in forward. And then again left. And then if you want to go reverse, you hold the left while working that right lever. Pretty intuitive, easy to figure out. I do like the fact that, again, you go in reverse, the second you lift off, you're right back into neutral. And that is key for a docking scenario because you always want to be nice, slow speed, in control. So the key is pop it in forward, come along, a little bit of neutral, a little bit of forward, a little bit of neutral, a little bit of reverse, and it's really no problem. The one thing you have to remember about every PWC is the fact that without some forward momentum, without some thrust, you're not actually going to steer that machine. So you do actually have to be giving it a little bit of throttle just to make sure you can execute those maneuvers. Now, the one thing I do want to say here, though, is that it's one sort of surprise to me that Sea-Doo hasn't come out with the docking mode to match what Yamaha has on the Wave Runner, because I really appreciate that setting on the Wave Runner. This is always a big pain point for owners, so it seems to me like Sea-Doo could step its game up and come out with some sort of slow speed control docking mode. But I will say, once you get the hang of it, it takes a bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, it's easy enough to bring this thing into the dock. And again, you can see my bumper up there on this machine. Just gives you that little bit of added peace of mind that if you come in a little bit too hot, you're not going to be scraping your paint. The bumper will be sacrificial. Now we're here at the dock. I just want to show off a few more features on the FishPro. First of all, you do get an anchor down here. Easy to get to from that seated position. Unhook the flukes, toss it in. You get 50 feet of line. And then there's a cleat in here as well. So of course you don't want to use all 50 feet most of the time. You can tie that up for whatever depth of water you're in. If you're at your favorite fishing spot, that will hold you in place. So nice to have the anchor. And now I want to go look at the live well at the back. That's one of the most fishing focused features here on this boat. So you can see it right here. This is 13.5 gallons. Quite a bit of space. And I did just switch it on, and here's one of the kind of neat features. So if you just want to use that water as a spray down, you can use the quick disconnect, pop it off of there, and just like that, you got a little hose. So if you're cleaning a fish back here or something, you want to clean it off, spray it down, you can do that. That's an awesome feature. I don't know if I'll get it back on here while it's running. Let's see. Oh, boom, easy. The quick disconnect really does work quickly. Yeah, that's an awesome feature. And for any serious angler who wants to keep their fish, that's gonna come in real handy. Now it's time to find out just how fast this thing is. So I've got it in sport mode, and I have the traditional speedometer, but also a GPS speedometer over here on my Garmin fish finder. So it'll be interesting to compare those speeds too. Fairly flat water, a little bit of wind out here today, but I think it's gonna work out. Let's see how it does. Hello, so I saw top speed at 64 miles per hour according to the GPS, and that's a pretty fast and quick way to go out there and find the fish, I gotta tell you. Well, folks, our day is coming to an end. I don't want it to end because we haven't caught anything yet, but I'm gonna keep on working on it right up until the end of this video. Now, I do have to spit out the pricing at you, of course. So here in the United States, this unit, as you see it, is gonna sell for a little under $25,000. In Canada, once again, as you see it, this unit is gonna sell for a little over $30,000. And what can I say? I really do think Sea-Doo has thought of everything. If you're serious about getting out there and catching fish, there's basically no upgrades you would want to make. And I think that's key. The aftermarket was happy to sell you all of this stuff separately, and Sea-Doo said, you know what? Let's bring it all together into one package along with a ridiculously powerful engine and sell it all to you straight from the dealership. And that's what I think Sea-Doo has done here. And now, of course, I need to hear your thoughts, so why don't you drop down in the comments, let me know about what you think about this FishPro Apex. As always, while you're down below leaving that comment, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of our channel, and then come right back here to TK Power Sports, see what we're testing next. See ya.